Hi Flosstube, welcome back to my channel, NBC Stitcher. I'm Matt, and this is episode number 7. Today is Sunday, July 19th, 2020, and it's been a little bit since I made another video, or since the last time I put one up, so things have been kind of crazy and I've had some technological difficulties, as well as last weekend we had some power outages here from the storms that came through. So it's just been a lot, but I have a lot of stitching to show. So that's the good news about the longer time period, is that there's plenty of stuff to show. I have some new starts, some whips, some finishes, a couple FFOs, and I have quite a bit of haul as well that has come in since then, since the last time. And I have, well, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm not sure, I may, depending on how long it takes to get through the stitching part, I will either include the haul here at the end, or I may do a separate video with that if we get to it at the end. It just kind of, we'll see what the timing's looking like. Okay, so first up, let's do finishes. So I'm going to start with my 2 fully finished items. First of all, I have this, which is Breonna's birthday, from Abby Top Knot Stitcher, was the designer. This was a charity chart she did, and I ended up stitching this on a piece of Aida that I had in a grab bag from Bestitchme, and I used the 820 Etoile as the color that I used. So it does have some sparkle to it. It's not showing up on the camera because it doesn't do that. So, and then I finished it on this little canvas frame, or stretched canvas. Just stretch the Aida cloth over it, and then I'll hang it up on the wall like this. So this is first of my finishes, and the next one is another one. I finished both of these in June, and then I fully finished them at the beginning of this month. This is Injustice, and this is by ABC Stitchworks. It's a Martin Luther King quote. This is "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And so what I did, it was, I think maybe it's set for to do the border in one color and then the quote in a separate color, but I kept all the letters and everything the same place. I didn't change any of where the symbols were. I just changed the colors, and I used the pride flag that has the Progress Pride flag, which has the stripes of black and brown and pink, light blue, and white, which is the trans flag. And so I incorporated this. It's all done in a toile as well, so it does sparkle. And then this is just on an 18 count white Aida that I had a big roll of, and I also stretched this over a canvas frame as well, so this will also go up on the wall. And yeah, I ended up back stitching around the letters to make it stand out. So there's white here in this part, and it just didn't stick out on the white fabric very well, and so I back stitched around them, and I used just a strand of black Etoile, and then I kind of didn't like part of it being outlined and the other part not, so I just did it around all of them. So that's everything there. And so that's my 2 fully finished items. Next we have several of my other finishes are on here. So I think I don't, and I didn't check when the last time. So I think I'm pretty sure I had Dragon done, and then I may not have had Infield. So I have finished him, and he is like it's called an Infield, and it's a fox with kind of like eagle talon hands, and so you see that. And then I did F is for fawn, and G is for griffin, and I've started working on H is for hippocampus. This is the Paine Free Crafts Stitch Along. That's for 2020. It's the full year. There are every letter of the alphabet will be a different mythical or fantasy creature, and then the letter is also the shape of the creature is shaped into the letter. So, and then there's the border that goes around it too. It's available online at Paine Free Crafts, and the link to the item listing should be down below. It's a pretty reasonable priced stitch along. I think it's 13 pounds for the whole thing, and and then they release a new letter every 2 weeks. So there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and there are in the English alphabet, and then so there are it'll be once every 2 weeks for the whole year. So my original plan after Mania, I had started several of these. I started Fawn, and I just had like the eyeballs in, so it was kind of a start. But the my original plan was to do one of these every week. So I have fallen behind. I did get Griffin in, and then I decided I was going to take a couple weeks to do H. Well, it's been 2, and I haven't really gotten a whole lot into H. The H one, and other people that have been working on this pointed this out to me when I posted about it on Instagram. It is a lot. All of these have some fractional stitches and some, I mean, there's backstitch, but that's not the hard part. It's the fractional stitches, which I think are can take more time. And the actual H is broken up onto 4 pages on the in the PDF of the chart. So it's kind of a lot, and there's a lot of colors and a lot of color changes and a lot of fractional stitches. So I have gotten a start. I will continue to work on this, but I am not going to get this done this weekend. And the other thing that I wanted to work on, and I did work on in the 2 weeks since I finished Griffin, was to work on this corner big motif. It's all, well, it will be filled in. You can see on this one I've gotten it completely done. And it's the exact same, and it'll be filled all in with, I've got all the green in, there's some of the yellow that needs to be done, and then I've got to fill in the garlic cream color that'll go in there, and then start getting the border down. But I have, this is all full coverage, so it does take more time, but what I like about this is that once I got the urn in, I was able to, the rest of it, I don't need to look at the pattern. I know what colors go where, and I can just go. And then same thing with the actual border. I can, you know, if I need something where I don't need to be paying attention to the pattern, I can do that, and I can get some work on it pretty quickly. So this is where I'm at. I don't know when I'm going to be finished with H. My original plan was to do one a week, and then I would have caught up at T, but the other downside that I ran into that is these are pretty detailed, and I don't always have a huge amount of stitching time every week. So if I keep working on one of these a week, it really cuts down on the other kinds of projects that I can work on. And so I'm going to try to get them keep working, and maybe once I get through H it'll be easier. I's a lot smaller, so I will go here and it's just a smaller pattern, so I think maybe I can start to progress more after that. But I've also got to keep working on the border. There will be some weeks when I'm working on the inner stuff that I won't have the border and the Q-snap, so maybe that'll give me time to go forward. But there's quite a few of them that have come out that have some pretty good amount of detail to them. They look great, and I'm really excited to have them. But it's not there's a lot going on with this. I still like it, and I still want to keep up with it, and I'd like to have it done this year, because I am counting each individual letter as a finish, so that's also helping with my finish count that I put on myself for the year. So anyway, that is my finishes, and one new start. Well, actually Griffin was a new start and a finish, since I hadn't done that, but the H is a new start. And okay, so next up, this is the next thing that I started. This is the Paper Crane Stitches. She has released Simply the Best, and this is Rose Apothecary from the TV show Schitt's Creek. Your screen is not malfunctioning. This is in black and white because I only have a black and white printer at home, and I generally don't print out the pictures of them on color. I mean, I probably could do it at work, but I don't want to. So, but I did see that she has started to release other shops, other places from the show. There's the cafe that the name is escaping me. I think that's the other one that she's released. But this is from Schitt's Creek, and this is a part of a stitch along, Simply the Best Sal, which Julie, Kansas City Girl, and Colorado World, and Carla, Rolodex Stitcher, have started, and several other people are doing them too. So I have not done a huge amount, but it's decent. So normally I'm a center starter, but this is not a giant piece, and I wanted to make sure I used my fabric efficiently, so I kind of found where like the corner should be. I marked it with this extra floss from my Ort pile, and then counted up. So this is the base of the walkway of right here. You can see the base there, the very bottom. It's this gray, and it goes, this is it all the way across. And I don't know if you can see it, but so what I did was I went across on the bottom, and I just went all the way across, but every fifth one I completed the stitch, and then the other ones are just still half stitches until I got all the way here, and then I came back and I ran out of floss before I could make it all the way back. But this also, having these marks, has helped me keep track of where everything is, so I can start filling in some of the boxes and the other things. These are some of the window, these hold the flowers and some of the other stuff. So I've started, this is my lovely RBG pen that I got from RBG Needle Minder, that I got from Space Cat Crafting, Caitlin, who's also a floss tuber, and I got another one that is on another one of my webs, so you'll see that's a preview for haul, because those did come in, but I went ahead and used them. And this is all in DMC. There is quite a bit of specialty stitches, the like flower heads and everything. There's a whole lot to that. I'm gonna do all the regular stitching first and then come back. But this is on 32 count earth lugana the Colorways Earth. This is from Bestitchme. It's a nice teal and pink kind of modeling. I think it's coming through pretty good on there. In real life, IRL, it kind of seems a little bit more tealy. Maybe it's a little more pink. This one may be just a little bit more pink in the color. So it's one of my favorite colors, one of my go-tos, and something when I don't want to stitch on white but don't want to do something with a really big different color or something. Anyway, so this is how far I got on this one. I didn't spend a whole lot of time, but I did get it started, and then maybe I'll work on that this week some more. We'll see. The next one, this is another new start that I did in the last 2 weeks. This is Woodland Santa by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and this is a hold on, Woodland Santa. Come on. Okay, so this is the chart. You can see that. Yeah, there's glare. But yeah, well, I don't know. Anyway, that's not bad. Okay, so yeah, this is Woodland Santa by Autumn Lane Stitchery. This is a relatively recent release in the last 6 months. I just bought it at a couple weeks ago. They're going to do a stitch along that starts in September. The materials pack is coming out in August, or the list, everything that you're gonna need, and then it'll run for a full year. But they haven't released a picture, but no, I don't have. It's some kind of under the sea queen of some kind. It is in conjunction with Under the Sea Fabrics, and Leslie of Under the Sea Fabrics has dyed a special color for it, and I signed up for the stitch along, and you do that on their Etsy store, Autumn Lane Stitcheries. And then I also bought the suggested fabric from Leslie on her website. And it comes in all sorts of color, it's one color, but it comes in all sorts of different Aida, different cloths. You could get Aida, you could get linen, you could get Jobelan, you could get lugana. There's different options. And there's also a bead pack or an embellishment pack that you can get from her. I think she also there's some treasure braid that is in it, and you can get that there as well. You can pre-order all of it, and then it'll come in time for the stitch along to begin. I don't know if there's a cutoff for that. I did it pretty soon after they announced it, because the preview thing, you kind of get some outlines of some stuff. It looks like maybe a mermaid or something. I'm not a big mermaid person, but it looked... I really like the style, the art style that Erin does from Autumn Lane Stitchery, and I think it'll be good. So I'm excited for it. And anyway, so I bought, when I was on their website to get the stitch along, I also picked up Woodland Santa. I have bought a couple other patterns from them. I just haven't started any of them. This is the first one I've actually started, but I've got a pretty good chunk going along here. I did a center start again, and I did his beard, and then I've done part of the shadow and kind of come down with his suit and everything, and I'm kind of moving along. So this is going pretty good. It's couple weeks in. So I'm doing this on 18 count Jade Aida from Picture This Plus. And yeah, so I think the called for is like a mint green or very light green color. This is a little darker than that, but I did put the floss on it, and I think it'll be pretty good. If there's some, so like, you know, part of the background of him is there is some trees, and this is kind of close to that. So if it looks like it's just blending and it's not working well, I may just use this as the background, and then there are some, like, there's an archway that kind of comes into the picture, and this the frame of it, and normally that is just the background, but I may do that with B5200 or find a light green to do that, and so replace, kind of like take out some of the trees but put in the border, and do it that way, kind of stitching in the negative space or whatever. But I don't know, I haven't got there yet, and I haven't made that decision. I'm also, normally I would fill this in, well, yeah, I probably would have filled this in, but this is a color that I haven't been able to find at Michael's. It's DMC 745, and when I was ordering something on 123 Stitch, they were out of it too. So I'm still looking for it. I haven't really tried that much though. I mean, there's several other places I could look, but I haven't gotten around to actually going back. I've looked for it twice, but at the same Michael's, so I don't know that, I mean, there's others in town that I could go to. I just haven't done it yet. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. So he's been moving along. I'm not really doing Jolly July, but this was one of the pieces that I was like, oh, I'll work on that. Or I started him. I will, you know, I wanted to get a start on him, and so it kind of fits in that, but it wasn't really a full plan to do it beforehand. Yeah, so those are my new starts, and then next, let's go into whips, and I will start off with my other Jolly in July piece that I had already started, but am working on again. I'm probably going to work on this for the rest of the month as far as any kind of Jolly July. I may pull out the Santa again. I'm not sure. But this is from Stitchery. This is Winter Deer, I think. Let me make sure I printed out. Yes. So, it's that Winter Deer by Stitchery. I started this in December or January, and then it was after Christmas, so I did a little bit, and then I was like, I'm not feeling really Christmassy, so I just put it away. And so what I've done, I had part of the deer, I filled in a little bit more of this tree. I've added in this tree, or I'm sorry, this is a mountain. And then I have added in the outline for this tree and started to do this to the nose and some of the neck of this color. And yeah, so it's coming along. This is my other pin that I got from Caitlin, this little fox with leaves. I'm a sucker for foxes, so I got that one, not pin, sorry, a needle minder. And so he's good to go. This is an 18 count Aida. I don't think it has a name. It was a gray Aida that I got from Bestitchme. It seems like it's kind of like her Artemis. I think that's right. But I don't know. It's a mottled gray, and it's a little bluey, but it's a good gray. It's a little lighter than what it's coming on in the picture, at least from my perception. But yeah, I've got a pretty good chunk here, and I'm moving along. I have a couple of modifications because, so this color is not the correct pink. It should be a different one, but I like this one, and I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to pull this all out to redo it. I'm just going to use that same color for the rest of this part of this. I think it's a bush, or a tree, or something like that. So I'm going to keep doing this. I really like this Scandinavian style type of folky art. Actually, both this and Santa are kind of in that case. It's different, but they do have like a folk art type of look to them. So I'm happy with them. But yeah, I'm moving along on that. And those are both Aidas, which I stitch on everything. I have a few linen that I stitch on, but it's not that's my lowest preference. But that's because it's uneven, and I don't like that part about it. Otherwise, I do like it. Okay, next up, this is another piece that I started in Mania, and this is the Mid-Century Gardens series. I mostly worked on this one, which is part 2, and this is a collaboration by Hands-On Design, Summer House Stitchworks, and Ink Circles. And so all 3 of them are cards, and you can get all 3. You can do them individually, you can stitch them all together like here. This is the way I'm doing it. They all give you 3 different colorways to choose from, and then you can pick your own. So I'm kind of this is kind of the colors. It's not these colors, but this is kind of the colorway that I went with. Or that's probably the closest one to it. But I am doing this, here's where I am. So I got quite a bit. So these are 3, they're all DMC, but this is DMC variegated 106. I think, hold on. Let me check. Yes, 106 is the coral carrot color. And then I have the dark blue teal, well, it's not really teal, it's like a dark aqua. Kind of lakeshorey. This one is not variegated. It's 3765. You can see it right there. And then the other one is 4022. And I did quite a bit, filled in these leaves, the rest of this one up here, some of the little parts of the border, and then I did the coral down here, all of this, and finished up and did this flower and worked on the border and the stem in the darker color. So this is really fun. This is a great, I really like this color combination. And the way the variegation is working, I'm pretty happy with. I haven't done a whole, I stitch with variegated floss, but not the majority of the time it's not. So this is kind of newer to me and trying to figure out different approaches to it. Like this one this one was already done. And so I started with the light, and I have noticed, and this may not be right, but at least my anecdotal experience is that the low numbered DMC variegations like the 106, it's like between 36 and 120 or something along those lines. All of those in that range they're all variegated, but the variegation it's pretty long in between. Like when I pull a thread of this, it's not going back and forth between dark and the light all along. It's like it's a big chunk of dark and a big chunk of light. I mean, it gradiates over it. There's a gradation to it, but the teal is much more goes back and forth between the colors and the same amount of floss. So it's different. I like it, but it's kind of with the bigger one, it's easier to kind of line up. So like on this one, I did the light color to dark, and then here I did dark, and then up to light, sort of the middle there too. But just trying to play around with it and trying to get it figured out, what I like about it. But this is this. It's on a 32 count Jobelan, also in Earth, by Bestitchme. And yeah, I'm gonna do all three. I have the middle one, pretty good chunk done now, and then I've started the one on this end. This is the ink circles one, and then the summer house stitch one will go over here, and then there'll be the border. It's the same border around all of it, so you just kind of go along. But it goes pretty quickly, and you know, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, so I think the next time I'll work up here, and then that way I'll get a way to meet up this with the border over there and, you know, move it along. But that's where I'm at. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I like it a lot. So, okay. Next up is one of my Mirabilias. This is Lady Justice, which I started in Mania. This was one of the first ones that I ever got and wanted to work on, but when I first found out about all of this and these kinds of patterns and everything, I was like, I don't know if I can, I don't know that I want to start that yet, or I waited and then I finally started it. But so I haven't done any kind of conversion of it at this point, but the way Gary of Sunshine Stitchers did the conversion, he just finished this in the last couple weeks. He stitched it in the last couple weeks and finished it last week, I think was in their video. The skin conversion he did was really pretty, and yeah, so I think that is definitely something that I'd like to look at. But yeah, I'm not up to that part yet. So what I ended up doing, I filled out more of the ribbon here, and then this part, this area, this is part of her ribbon of that, and I'm getting through it. This is on Ice Princess, Jobelan 32 count from Bestitchme. It's a gray, blue-gray, a little bit more on the blue side than gray. It looks a little, maybe that's better. Anyway, so that's where we're at on that one. And then, okay. I don't know what that is. Okay, so next up we've got an ink circles. This is one of the elemental dragons. This is Earth. Yeah, this is the one that I have started. I have air is coming to me. I've ordered it. I have water, but I have not started it. So I am doing, the plan is to do all of them on the same kind of fabric, the same count, not the same color. And I'm doing this on 40 count verdal even weave. And this is also on Earth. So you see, you can tell that this is a favorite of mine because I keep putting stuff on it. But this, I also like that it's Earth and it's called Earth, and that this is for the Earth dragon. So, and then the floss that I'm using is Weeks Dye Works Foliage. You can see that it's a nice green to brown variegation. Which I thought was fitting for an earth dragon, or dragons. And so I got this guy pretty much done, and then started working on the middle part and this other mirror of him, since I've been working on it this go around. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like these, and this is another time where I'm doing some variegated floss. Now I generally do not complete my stitch and move on. I still stick with the Danish method, I think that's right, or continental method of going across and then going back. I also will, like, if it's just like one space, I will skip that and keep going and then come back. But it kind of depends. Sometimes, like, I didn't do that over here because I wanted this to go together and this to be, and this part to go together, and so it just kind of depends. But I kind of play around with it, and then. But anyway, I've been pretty happy with this. I'm enjoying it, and it is 40 count. It is not. As long as I have good light, I haven't really had any problem seeing it. But it is something I have to pay attention to more. But not crazy. It's just I generally wouldn't do this at the end of the night. I wouldn't pull this out to start working on it. So that's that one. That is the last of my whips. So, okay. I have some plans and some stuff to go through that, and then we'll see about haul and whatnot, because it's a big pile. But there is going to be some haul in the discussion of the plans. So, I had this idea and with Becca Sambrie Stitches, and we're doing a stitch along. We're starting a stitch along in August 13th, and which is a Thursday. It's not Friday the 13th. So we are doing a owl themed stitch along. So it is, you can stitch on any piece you have with an owl in it. You can stitch on the owl. You can stitch on another part of the piece if you don't want to if you're not working on the owl. So anything that has an owl in it is fair game to, you can stitch on something you've already been working on, or start something new, whatever you want to do. I think Becca and I are both going to be starting owl pieces on the 13th. So this came about because she did it's a not Yeti, Sasquatch, or Yeti, something, Bigfoot pattern that is the silhouette of Bigfoot but it's also a forest or trees, looks like it. She did that for her husband it was her anniversary start, and I commented on it that I have. And the pattern is by the Stitchy Little Fox on Etsy. It's the shop, and I don't know the designer's name besides her shop name, but I have done several pieces by her. I have quite a few of her patterns, and I had several of these forest type of patterns. She has a whole series of different animals in the forest, and then there's different colorways, different animals, all sorts of stuff. So I had one that is an owl, and I've had it for quite a while, and so this is the one. I told her, it's like, I've got the owl one, and I've got several of those that I definitely want to do, and she commented back she had the owl one too and definitely wanted to start it, and that kind of gave me the idea of doing a stitch along, and so the name of it is #owlbestitchingsal. So like OWLBE stitching sal. So it's it's a little punny, but like I said, you can do any kind of owl. You don't have to. You can start with us on the 13th and then start. Or you can stitch on something you already have going with an owl, whatever works. And we're not planning on ending it or anything like that. There's not a goal to be done with them. It's kind of like the squirrel sal that Fortnite Fabrics, Married with Stitches, has done. If you've got a squirrel in your pattern, you do squirrel sal, and Christian is doing Squirrels of Sumatra, which was what brought about that whole thing of doing the squirrel style. But you can stitch on anything you have that has a squirrel in it, and yeah. So I'm gonna start this one. I already have fabric, and I've had most of the DMC and got the others. But I'm doing it on this dark green fabric, I think. And this is probably, and this is, I think it's an 18 count Aida. I did something else on this, the other half of this. Yeah, this should look great. So this is the colors. I think that'll look great. Yeah. So I think we're gonna be good on that. But it is, you can do other owls. I have already purchased some additional owl patterns. There's an Ink Circles owl. I don't have a picture of it. It hasn't come yet, but it kind of reminds me of a stamp. I don't think it is a stamp, but it is, the Athena owl, and has like a Greek effect to it, like Athena, and so I have ordered that, and then I have a couple others that I have either already had or I did buy. This is one that I bought. This is actually, it's a 2-pack, but I'm talking about the owl, not the squirrel. But hey, you could do the squirrel too, and that would be the squirrel style, and the owl, you can do the owl, owlbestitchingsal. So there's a lot of these like silhouette and then something else going on in it that I really like. There's a whole bunch of them on Etsy, all sorts of different stuff. But this one I thought was really pretty. So yeah. So I did get this one recently. This is from Vlada X Stitch, and I have purchased stuff from her before. I've stitched stuff from her before. I like it, and yeah, so I'm happy about that. I had another one that was from, I already had this one, but this is from Oh My Stitchy Shop. Same kind of concept, a different scene inside the owl. I like this one. I think this would also look great on like a dark green fabric like that one that I have, or I probably need some more because I'm running out. I have another piece. I have a piece of 18 count Aida from Picture This Plus that's the Huntress, no, Herald, that is kind of like that. This one that I am using for the forest owl this was from Bestitchme. It didn't have a color to it, I think, or it said like mermaid green, something like that. But it's not part of her regular line, or like, I don't know if she could redo it without like sending her pictures of this. But I think I have a verdal of Tree Hugger, which is part of her regular line that you can get on her website, which is really pretty, and I bet it would look good on Aida in this. If I'm running out, that's probably one of the next things that I end up buying or ordering from her, just because I like dark green as a color to stitch on. Generally, more likely it'll be on an Aida form because it's easier to see the holes on that, even if it's a darker, and yeah, so anyway, and then another one, so if you are doing the Once Upon a Fairy Tale from Amy Stewart, the Heaven and Earth design, there's an owl in that, so you can start hashtagging that if you want to. I'm stitching that, but I'm nowhere near the owl, but if I work on that again, I'll probably still add it to our stitch along, because there is an owl in it. There's lots of other patterns that have owls in them. I have this one. I have no idea when I'm going to start it, but I have it. This is a beautiful space owl, galaxy owl, that is from pattern Navgra, Nadzida Gralikova. I'm horrible at saying Russian names, so I apologize for that, or Eastern European. And I have several of her patterns. I have started one, barely, but they're beautiful. They're very much, there's a lot of blends, not a huge amount. I mean, it's not Teresa Winsler, but it's, you know, you've got a lot of different colors. There's a lot of blends, a lot of backstitch, but it looks gorgeous. If you work on these, they're great. I have this one. There's a fox in the same series that she did that is gorgeous, and I have that. And then there's the lynx that is also gorgeous, and I have that. I haven't figured out what I want to stitch them on or when to start them, but I have all three of those, and yeah, they're gorgeous. I think maybe on something sparkly. I think that would be good on them. But anyway, any kind of owl that you're thinking about, go ahead and start it, and then you can, you know, join us. It's, once again, it's hashtag owlbestitchingsal, and we're going to start it August 13th, and I hope to see you all, or if you also like owls and you don't have anything you're starting or working on, feel free to follow along, and you might see patterns that you really like. So I like a lot of animals. It's a subject of cross stitch that I enjoy stitching. Hello, and you can see, I mean, well, most of mine probably weren't animals today, but it is an area that I generally like. So that's pretty much all of the stitching and the plans. Now we've got haul, but we're already at 47 minutes, and I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to do a separate video, and it'll come out this week. I'm going to film it right now, so it'll be done, but it won't come up at the same time, probably later this week. So if you like haul, come back and watch that. If you don't like it, if that's not something you want to see, have a great week, and I'll catch you later. So have a good one, everybody. Bye.